Hello and welcome back to CEO.ca's Inside the Boardroom. My name is James Fathom and today I'm joined by Graham Downs, President and CEO of Cascadia Minerals. They trade on the Toronto Venture Exchange under the ticker CAM. Graham, it's great to see you today.
Great, thanks for having me.
If we could kick things off, there's a bit of a unique backstory with Cascadia. Obviously, some of the management team from ATAC and the Catch property, big deal with Hecla. Wind back the years, paint us the picture. How did this all come together?
Yeah, great. So Cascadia was formed in mid-2023 from a transaction where I was previously with a company called ATAC Resources, working up in the Yukon. And Hecla came in kind of the spring of 2023 and came to purchase ATAC Resources. But we had been transitioning the company before that to bringing on more copper and gold projects to bolster up our projects in ATAC. And when we did that transaction, we were able to spin out the copper and gold assets into a new company, and that ended up being Cascadia Minerals. And when that transaction came together, there was concurrent financing with Hecla. Yeah. And then we subsequently did a quick financing shortly after that. So we ended up starting Cascadia in July of 2023 with over $4 million, some great copper gold assets, and then we started advancing those.
Okay, great. I mean, I know one of those assets, your flagship project, the Catch property in central Yukon, you have an earn-in agreement with a prospector who originally found that project. Tell us a bit more about the Catch property.
Yeah, it's an amazing story, and I think it's a testament to that the fact that you can still find brand new discoveries in places like the Yukon, which is really important these days when the world is shrinking, and it's a nice safe jurisdiction, and the mineral potential of the Yukon is incredible. So this prospector was following up a Yukon Geological Survey in an area that had never been explored before in the Yukon, just south east of a town called Carmacks, which is the hub of the Yukon, right near a highway. Whose first project I could get a cell phone call on. It's a great location. So he followed up this silt sample and started finding copper and gold mineralization all over surface over very large areas. Yeah, and obviously staked it. And then we'd actually worked with him before, known him before. He brought it to us and said, "Hey, look what I'm finding on this project." And we looked at him. Wow, this is absolutely spectacular. Like, you don't find this kind of stuff at surface anymore. Yeah. So we optioned the property. Now we can earn 100% into that property. We've enlarged it to 117 square kilometers, and we've done a lot more surface work. And just recently, late in 2023, the first ever drill holes on the Catch property were completed. And
okay. Yeah. I didn't realize that was the inaugural drill program there, that all the work before that had been surface work.
Well, this had never been staked in the history of the Yukon. It's absolutely spectacular. So he did a great job of finding something new. And we looked back and we tried to find any evidence of any work on the property prior to his work, and there wasn't any. So great new discovery, and that's a really important point, because there are very, very few new discoveries being made. Yeah, there's very few prospectors out there or people like ourselves doing early exploration. Because when we saw what he did, we followed up on that, because where the Catch is in what's called the Stikine terrain, which hosts all of the big deposits down in British Columbia, but it actually goes up, not many people know this, goes up and it goes right through the border, right up to Carmacks, right through the Yukon. So there's a belt of the Stikine, very fertile package of rocks, and nobody had really looked in that. So when we've already last year did a regional program, we found two brand new copper showings in that Stikine terrain, and we've staked them, and I think we can find more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's rare that you have a brand new discovery. I think, if anything, we're seeing more, the reawakening of all the mining districts and going back where previous work has been done and following up on that. I know your drill program, you had an intercept 116 meters, 0.3% gold, 0.3 grams per ton. 0.3 grams per ton gold, 0.3% copper equivalent. Was that in line with what you were expecting? How did it compare to some of the other drill results? And I guess, having done that initial work, you can be going back for more this year.
Yeah, I mean, we followed up on the work the prospector was doing, and that was just amazing. But then our VPX, Adam Coulter, went to, and 2 or 3 kilometers away, found an outcrop with 30 grams gold and almost 4% copper in outcrop. So we're like, well, this is where we're going to put the drill. And we set up the drill there, and just like you said, we got the first hole was 45 meters of 0.3 copper and a little less gold. The second hole was that 116 meters of 0.3 copper and 0.3 gold. And I think that in itself is good, but what's more amazing is that you've actually hit this alkalic porphyry in the first 2 diamond drill holes ever done. I don't know if I said it, but the closest diamond drill hole to this project was 75 kilometers away ever. Okay. So it's in a new area that nobody's ever really looked. So yeah.
What does that mean for your infrastructure of the project? If you're in a more remote, underexplored area, what are your costs like in terms of drilling?
Well, what's nice about this, to your first question there, is we're only 10 kilometers away from a power line and a major highway. So for my almost 30 years working in the Yukon, that's great. And like I said, it's the first project I've actually had cell phone. When the guys are out there finding new things and texting them to you, it's pretty cool. And then, it's just like anywhere else. Because that's just a short hop, it's a little bit more, but the costs are in line with everything in British Columbia, and actually quite cheaper than places like Nevada and Alaska. So, it costs, but it's within line. Yeah.
Okay. And so, you mentioned British Columbia. I know you have the Pill project there as well, in addition to, the Catch Royalty in the Yukon. Can you give us an update there? Is there any active exploration work? And I guess, what can people expect over the year ahead for the Pill project?
Yeah, so Pill is another really great project. Like when we were acquiring copper and gold projects, one of the things we really wanted to do was be closer to infrastructure, just like Catch. And we saw the Pill project on a road in the heart of the Tutagon, kind of neighboring Freeport-McMoran's JV with A-Mark, and you've got Benchmark and Thesis, who and then a number of other companies in that area. It's a spectacular project. It's 150 square kilometers. It has epithermal targets. It has copper gold porphyry targets. Some of them we haven't even had enough time to really advance. But what's our number one ranked target after a couple of years of work was called the Pill South project, or target, excuse me. And we're getting really nice copper gold numbers at surface. It's another porphyry target. And we did geophysics in 2022 and 2023. 2023 was a deeper set of IP geophysics, and it's given us a really nice classic porphyry target with your pyrite halo and your resistive core, which is hopefully your potassic core, high grade, and it's never been drill tested. So on a road in a great jurisdictions, great relationships with the First Nations that really support mining in that area. Our focus right now, because we're going to start drilling very shortly at the Catch project. That's kind of the one that it's a no-brainer. I really invite your listeners and viewers to really look at that project. It's got the most amount of copper gold mineralization I've ever seen. It's just spectacular with lots of targets. Pill is obviously another great target, and we'll be looking to drill that later this year.
Okay, and what level of drill program are you planning at the Catch property?
So we're looking right now, and we were just closing oversubscribed financing, so we'll have a couple $1 million in the till. Right now, we'll put 2 or 3 holes. Where we drilled on one section line, we have a much bigger anomaly 300 meters away. The drill's sitting there right now. We just have to fly in the engine and get that started. So we'll be doing 2 or 3 holes on that to step out from known mineralization. And we're getting interest and there's more interest in the copper space now, even within a month that, the copper prices are really moving up. And I think you're going to see that for a while. So that's the kind of idea there. And then look to raise a little bit more money to do that work on Pill later in the year. That's when you want to do work in the Tutagon.
Okay, understood. So, you mentioned ongoing private placement. Obviously, we've seen strong commodity prices this year. Gold reaching 2,400, copper pushing 10,000 a ton. But juniors haven't seen as much of that love. How are you finding it raising money at the moment? What's the environment like?
It didn't feel great during PDAC, and there's definitely a disconnect and it has the money that is starting to come in is still staying up in the large cap companies. Yeah, it is starting to trickle down. We were very fortunate that we were actually able to get well oversubscribed on this placement. But it was not as easy as one would think. But I think because of the quality of our projects and the copper and gold focus, I think that really helped. And we're still seeing a bit of interest as well. So it's great.
Yeah, it is. It is a peculiar time. You think we have very high commodity prices, valuations not reflected in the juniors. It's either, there's no faith that the commodity prices will stay that high, or it's, a generational buying opportunity for some of those, equities that haven't moved in line with the commodities yet. Before we wrap up, I know formation of the company, Hecla was obviously a big part of that. They have two seats on the board right now. What's their ownership of the company?
It's a really good question. Because we're a newly formed company in July last year, we only have 40 million shares outstanding. And as you say, Hecla is just under 18%. Okay. Barrick is actually also just under 8%. And then Michael Gentile out of Montreal is a large shareholder, along with Peter Brown and some other high net worth individuals and management. And so... yeah, it's a great structure, well structured. So there's a lot of should be torquey. So if we hit on any of these holes, I think you'll see a really nice bump, hopefully.
Okay, fantastic. Well, great note to end on, Graeme. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.